Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Sharon, and welcome everybody. Welcome to our Mannatech community and also to our guests. If this is the first time that you are being introduced to the story of Mannatech, you have arrived in a great moment. We have our very special guest speaker, Garry Gnapp, who is a Gold Executive Director with Mannatech. And that basically means that he's helped hundreds, if not thousands of people in either improving their wellness or taking up the option of the lifestyle opportunity with Mannatech. And that's our focus, or Garry's focus this morning. And I'm looking forward to, I saw a sneak preview of Garry's presentation last night. And I know that you're in for a really solid content of, what the Mannatech business can offer into your life and into your family's lives. So it's my pleasure and privilege to introduce Garry and give you a little bit of his background. When Garry Gnapp found Mannatech, he already had been a 30-year veteran entrepreneur of an award-winning business, and I'm sure you'll hear a little bit more about that today. He has been an avid fundraiser for a variety of social and environmental causes. And as a professional skydiver, photographer, and businessman, he's traveled to 50 countries around our world and made over 100,000 skydives. That's 10,000. Almost 10,000, isn't it?
10,000, yeah.
10,000 would feel like 100,000 to me, Garry. Today, Garry and his wife, Sue, they live their dream lifestyle off the grid. Their time is their own, and he runs their global Mannatech business from their sustainable property in a beautiful part of Australia. They grow the majority of their food and produce 100% of their power, and I know that's been the fulfillment of a life dream for Garry. And again, I think you're going to hear more about that. Garry says he doesn't know why anyone would choose anything else. And so we're looking forward to hearing from you this morning, Garry. I'll hand over to you.
Okay, well, welcome everyone, and thank you for coming to this, what I'm calling an emergency webinar, because as we speak, things are changing. So this webinar is about how to make money from home in these very, very interesting times. So the world has really changed. It's almost overnight, and it's changed in ways that we really couldn't have imagined just a short while ago, just over a year. And the whole world is facing not only a health crisis, but now at the same time a wealth crisis. And literally millions of people worldwide have lost or losing their income, or at least lost their security in their income. And as we're seeing on the news as we speak, suddenly lots of people in lockdown at the moment, and you're quite possibly one of them. And what I recommend is that people find a way to be able to enjoy the freedom of being self-employed and able to work from home. But most people just don't know what to do or how to make a start. So really what I'm talking about today is how to secure your financial future with a financial life raft, if you like, that's proven and available now to help you quickly generate an income working from home. But you really have to be aware the home business revolution is really filled with hype, and there's literally thousands of get-rich-quick schemes that are designed to prey on people at their most vulnerable. But what you'll learn on this webinar now is a proven business that myself and Diana and Sharon have been running from home for over 20 years. Between just the three of us, we've got over 60 years of experience working, partnering with Mannatech. As Diana said, my name is Garry Gnapp. I've been a professional skydiver for most of my career. I've been very fortunate and represented Australia and Great Britain, done over 10,000 skydives all around the world. And in 1990, I started my own skydiving centre in Australia, which was a huge success. But I worked very, very hard for what I now realise was a limited income. totally relied on the weather. And to be honest, I kind of got fed up with employing people. It was a bit like running an adult daycare centre, and there were lots of deadlines, absolutely massive overheads, and coming with that, pretty constant stress. Through the last 15 years, if not 20 years now, I've enjoyed great success. Suffice to say that my wife and I, we're really living the life of our dreams, and we do whatever we like every day, and we run our global business from our solar-powered, sustainable home in the middle of nowhere, just to prove that it could be done. We can't see a single house from our place. We grow all our own food. That was our dream. Now, I don't know what your dream lifestyle is, and it might not be that one, but I know that right now there's lots of people that are really scratching their heads and just wondering how they could ever achieve their dream life. So if you are looking for a home-based income generating business that really works, you are in the right place now. Right now, millions of people who are laying awake at night are worrying about two things: their health and their finances. And let's face it, these two things are very, very strongly linked together. So I'm going to use a baseball diamond analogy here, and hope everyone understands how that works. But basically, you whack the ball, and the idea is that you need to get to first base, second base, third base, and then you make a home run. So I hope everyone understands how that works. So here in the center, we have wealth and lifestyle as the subject. For whatever reason, you may realize that there's challenges out there when it comes to achieving financial freedom, whatever that is to you. To me, it's the freedom to sleep at night, not lay awake worrying about either my health or my finances. But let's take a look at the actual facts. Australian insurance statistics tell us that by the age of 65, 56% of people are dead broke, 36% are dead, 4% are secure, and only 1% could be considered wealthy. Pretty shocking statistics. And we all know that there's a widening wealth gap. The rich seem to get ridiculously richer, while the less fortunate find it harder and harder to just maintain their lifestyle. The poor get poorer. And now we have a pandemic plunging the whole world into really a wealth crisis. I think we're really fortunate in Australia that up until now we've been relatively unscathed compared with a lot of the rest of the world, but who knows what's going to happen. So, you know, we've seen over the last year mass business closures, businesses on the brink of closing, just being supported by the skin of their teeth. There's definitely been mass layoffs and millions of people having to pivot, I think the words that they use, pivot their life just to survive. Debt. Australia has the highest level of per capita debt in the world. And to make matters worse, the average Australian retires on less than $15,000 a year. And I'm sure there's no one here that could live a real comfortable lifestyle on $15,000 a year. And it's the same all over the world. In many countries, it's worse. They don't have any welfare. And we still teach the 40-40-40 plan, as it's known, in our education system, where you work 40 hours a week for 40 years and then attempt to retire on 40% of your previous income that you couldn't live on before. So really no one receives wealth education. So let's look at some solutions. We've identified some of the problems. Let's look at some solutions. Your greatest asset is your educated brain. Now, I found that most people have heard of the book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. What amazes me is that I ask people that many of them have heard of it, but they haven't actually read it. It's a book that really changed my life. And in it, he talks about something he calls the cash flow quadrant. And you see the screen split into 4 quadrants here. E, S, B, and I. Now, what Robert said is that all of us earn our money from one or more of these quadrants. And on the left-hand side here, you see the E quadrant. That stands for employee, which is the majority of people. And employees exchange their time for money. They generally work 40 to 50 hours a week. Therefore, there's a limited income. They get taxed before they're paid. There's very, very few tax benefits. And they get told what to do. So there's a lot of people like me who don't actually like being told what to do. So they may become self-employed or own a small business, which is what the S stands for. So there's many types of people who are self-employed and run their own small business, from cafe owners, that's particularly a business being hit for six at the moment, accountants, electricians, tradespeople of all kinds. There's many, many types of self-employed small businesses, but they're still exchanging time for money on the whole. Instead, they just work 50 to 60 hours a week. There's a limited income because of that. And there are some tax benefits. And what I realized when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad is that my skydiving business definitely fell into the S quadrant to a large degree. On the right-hand side of the quadrant, a B business, B standing for a business that earns you money, which you're separated from. It's a way of creating a residual income, and that's one that continues to pay you on a long-term basis, regardless of your level of work. And that enables you to leverage your time, duplicate your effort, and therefore open up unlimited income. And there's many tax benefits. And that, of course, gives you a completely different lifestyle. And like me, the lifestyle of my dreams. The I quadrant, lastly, is where your money makes you money. And you do this mainly through things like stocks and shares or positive cash flow, rental properties, and so on. And that's great. But the only problem is that you actually need money to make money in that quadrant. And what's really interesting is that 90% of people actually derive their income from the left-hand side of this quadrant. So they're an employee or they're self-employed, but they account for only 10% of the global wealth. Whereas on the right-hand side, only 10% of people derive their income from this side of the quadrant, but they account for 90% of global wealth. Now, I'd quickly cover this idea of residual income. And most people understand one of the most basic ways of that, which is saving money. So if you were to create an income of, say, $300 a month, you would need to have $72,000 stashed away in the bank. That's if it was at 5%. And if anyone can find a bank that's paying 5% at the moment, it's more like half that. So you'd have to double that number, but I'm being conservative here. If you wanted to earn $1,250 every month, you'd have to have $300,000 or more stashed away in the bank, unable to touch it. $3,500 every month, nearly $1 million in the bank. And 8,000, which is kind of the figure which we would say would really start to generate a kind of lifestyle income, the kind of income the way you've got choices, you'd need nearly $2 million in the bank at 5%. So what Robert's saying is, if you want financial freedom and security, it just can't be done in the E quadrant because you're exchanging time for money. You only get paid so much per hour. There's only so many hours in the day, etc. The S quadrant, pretty much the same, except you work longer hours. So what Robert says is that for the ordinary person, you need to find a way to get into the B quadrant, where the B business makes you money, makes you that all-important residual income. And then once you make money in that B quadrant, you can play around in the I quadrant. So you have to ask the question, where are you? You could be making money from more than one quadrant, but it's definitely at least one of them. So great, now we've got that worked out. How can we actually get into the B quadrant? Well, you can buy an existing business. You don't have to look far in your local paper magazines. There's always hundreds of businesses for sale, but of course, you need to have the capital to buy an existing business. And the big question is it a business that's going to shackle you, an S quadrant business, or actually set you free, B quadrant business? Very few businesses that are for sale like this are actually in the B quadrant. You could buy a franchise. These are generally sold as a business system, but beware, you could be just buying a very, very expensive job. You could start your own business from scratch, which I've actually done twice. But with this, you're going to need a very good product, a good idea, and usually a fair bit of capital and business acumen. So as you can see, it's not easy to get into this B quadrant. Risk generally a very high cost and therefore a very high associated risk, which is why the majority can't see or afford a way of getting into the B quadrant, even if they wanted to. So you could start your own home-based business, and that's what we're talking about here. It's much easier to get into the B quadrant this way, and there's generally a low cost and therefore a much lower risk. So let's just come up here with the perfect business, in my view anyway, the home business wish list. It would be a turnkey business that's very, very quick to set up. Preferably it would be global and easy to operate from home regardless of your location. It would be very low cost to get started and therefore very low risk. It would have products that are in very, very high demand. It would have systems in place that allow an immediate start, so not months and months. When I set the skydiving centre up, it took me nearly a year to set that business up, which was constant outgoing. So we want something that just gets you started earning money quickly, and it provides that all-important residual income. And most of all, it's proven. You're not taking a chance. It's got a long track record. So that's going to really help your chances of success. So you remember I said before that right now millions of people are laying awake worrying about two things. They're worrying about their finance and their health. So let's talk about health. And we use the same baseball diamond analogy here, but this time we've got in the center the subject of health and wellness. So here we are on home base, and for whatever reason, you may realize that there's challenges out there when it comes to long-term health. Maybe you or someone you know gets sick. For whatever reason, you realize that there's challenges. And even before the current pandemic, the stats are scary. 95% of people die from lifestyle-related diseases. So diseases that relate directly to the way they live and choose to live their life. Autoimmune diseases have been on a steady rise. This is when miscommunication takes place in the immune system and the body starts to attack its own healthy cells in some way. And it's scientifically proven that our immunity, that is our ability to fight disease, has dropped some 25% over the last 3 decades. And it's continuing to drop by an estimated 2% per year. And that's not just in humans, it's happening to most animal species as well. So why do you think this could be? Well, in my experience of doing this presentation many times in front of a live audience, most people actually know why. The toxic environment. There have been at least 75,000 new man-made chemicals introduced into our environment in the last century. And our bodies just were not designed to tolerate them. Our bodies were designed to live on a pristine planet. Stress. In our modern world, our daily lives are impacted by increasing stress, pollution, work stress, financial pressure, and so on. And it's now been scientifically shown that our immune systems are negatively affected by all this stress. And starvation. Now, by starvation, I don't mean there's nothing to eat. Obviously, in our society, there's no shortage of food to eat. But a new form of malnutrition has been defined, known as type B malnutrition. This is where there's plenty of food as such, but it's lacking in real nutrition. So I'm talking here about nutritional starvation. So again, it's all very well understanding the problem, but what are the possible solutions? Well, you can do what most people do and wait until you get sick. But for about 50% of the people with heart disease, for example, the first warning sign is a fatal heart attack. It's a bit late. The point to be made here is that it's not really a health system at all. It should really be called a sickness system, because generally you only use it once you get sick. What can we do to avoid becoming one of these statistics? Well, we can embark on a course of proactive wellness, which means being personally proactive in doing the right things that we know to help maintain good immunity, health, and general wellness. And in my experience, water is a major factor, and in accordance with a doctor's advice, we should drink about 2 litres of good, clean water every day. And who here drinks 2 litres of good water every day? I don't mean tea, coffee, or a well-known fizzy drink. Very few people actually drink enough water. Exercise. Everybody knows that we need exercise. And by this, I don't necessarily mean going to the gym and doing weights every day, but just a small amount of normal physical activity, such as walking the dog, dancing, etc. And of course, we need a good, healthy diet. But according to Canadian data, and Canada did one of the first ever studies on the nutritional value in fruits and vegetables, have recently followed up with another study 50 years later. And the comparison between the two studies is really, it's quite alarming. And they showed that almost 80% of foods tested showed significant drops in their vital nutrients, vitamins and minerals. In fact, you'd have to eat 8 oranges today to get the same quantities of vitamin C that your grandparents got from just 1 orange. And the results have been almost identical in similar research conducted in the USA and Britain. So the big question is, are we getting what we need in our modern diet? Now, it's been scientifically proven that many of the micronutrients that we need only develop in fruits and vegetables in the last 24 to 48 hours of the ripening process. This is a major problem, since we have to pick our food green in order to get it to the shops before it's rots. That's just the world we live in today. Even healthier organic food still has the same logistical problem. In some cases, food is gassed so that it can be stored for long periods of time without ripening. In some cases, up to 2 years. And it's then gassed again, which allows the produce to ripen before you buy it looking perfect in the supermarket. And the majority of people do not realize this. Believe me, they don't know this is going on. Poor diets. I'm sure people have, some of you have seen the film Supersize Me. And in this documentary, the human body was subjected to a day of 30 days of food supplied by a popular fast food family restaurant. And they were monitored by a team of doctors. And in the documentary, they interviewed doctors and nutritionists, dietitians and politicians. And they were all shocked beyond expectations at the actual harm that such a diet can have in such a short time, and how long it took to recover from the damage caused. So we all know that diet is really, really important. It's a known fact that we need to leave land fallow and rotate our crops in order to keep soil healthy, in order to produce nutritious food. We've known that for thousands of years, but modern agricultural practices allow the addition of artificial chemicals, pesticides, herbicides that enable plants to grow fast, look healthy, grow big. That's the main things that they're attempting to do, but they are starved of the nutrients nutritionally valuable, because that's all about the soil. So some of our foods are so undernourished, they just aren't really worth eating. And one of the scary things about our diets now is that we just don't eat enough fresh, raw, vine-ripened fruits and vegetables. And an alarming statistic in Australia is that in today's modern diet, it's estimated that 90% of the foods that we consume are processed in some way. And this is one of the reasons that part of my dream lifestyle for my wife and I was to grow a lot of our own food, which we do. Increased toxins and pollutants. If you think you're living in a toxic-proof environment, think again. In Australia, we're still using chemicals that many other actually banned. Man-made chemicals are being found everywhere. They're even found in the Antarctic. It's sad. No matter where you live, you cannot escape these harmful toxins. Now, for decades, we've been told by various medical associations that as long as we eat 3 square meals a day, we'll get everything our body needs. But in 2002, so nearly 20 years ago, the Journal of the American Medical Association suddenly made a 180 turnaround in its advice. And they said that most people do not consume an optimal amount of all nutrients and vitamins by diet alone. It appears prudent for all adults to take supplements. That was a massive turnaround. What we need for a healthy life. We know about water, that's a given. Essential vitamins and minerals, diseases like scurvy, beriberi, rickets, they've all been linked to vitamin and mineral deficiencies. And certain vitamins are essential in order to avoid those diseases. We also know about essential amino acids and proteins for the correct construction of our DNA. And now we know about essential fatty acids, omega-3s and 6. That's pretty much in the news all the time. But what does essential mean? It means that we must have them in our diet. Our body can't make them. They should be provided by our food. And if we don't get them, something ultimately is going to go wrong. So even though we know this, 95% of people still die from lifestyle-related diseases. There appears to be something missing from this puzzle. Now, Paracelsus, who's the father of pharmacology, he stated in the 1500s that all mankind needs good health and healing is provided by God in nature. The challenge for science is to find it. That sounds very sensible to me. I'm sure it makes sense to you too. So now that JAMA, the Journal of American Medical Association, any other medical associations are all saying the same thing. They say that we need to supplement our diets. Well, that's all very well, but what do we need to supplement with? Clearly, we need to supplement with the nutrition that we're actually missing. How do we know what's missing? The answer is we don't. And that's where a company that I've been partnering with called Mannatech comes in. Mannatech is a very dynamic nutritional research and development company founded in the USA in 1994. And I've been partnering them along with Diana and Sharon on this call. We've been partnering with them for over 20 years each. It really is an amazing company. Their mission is to develop innovative, high quality, patented nutritional supplements and weight management products. Well, big deal. If I was starting a nutritional research and development company, that would probably be my mission statement. So what is it that makes Mannatech so special? Well, right from the start, they took a scientific focus that was based on a number of assumptions. The first assumption was that the body actually knows how to maintain health and heal itself. The second assumption was that if the cell is the basic unit of the body, then health must begin at the cellular level, and that healthy cells make healthy tissues, make healthy organs, make healthy systems, and a healthy body. That makes sense. So the challenge they took on was to find out precisely what our bodies need, when they need it, in order to maintain optimal health and to support the natural structure and function of the body. And how many people here have heard of aloe vera? I'm sure many people. Many scientists knew that it was special, and Mannatech scientists knew that it was special, but they didn't know why. So the Mannatech scientists in the beginning, right at the start of Mannatech, started looking deeper and deeper into the health benefits of aloe vera, and they discovered that the active ingredient was a long-chain carbohydrate composed predominantly of a glycan called mannose, and they recognized that the body could benefit from a supplemental blend of 8 such glycans needed to support cellular communication. And they were able to extract and stabilize these molecules, and that has resulted in the issuance of over 130 international patents since their establishment in 1994. So it appears that the missing piece is glycan, specifically the 8 listed here. Glucose and galactose are fairly abundant in our modern diet. The other 6 are largely missing due to the reasons that I've already discussed. In particular, the green harvesting. It's been found that these vital nutrients are made by the plant as part of the ripening process and only appear in the fruits or vegetables in the last 24 to 48 hours of ripening. We've got 100 fruit trees, and we actually wait for the animals to start eating the fruit because they won't eat it until it's absolutely ripe. So once they start eating our fruit, that's when we pick it. Harper's Chemistry, it's a medical biochemistry textbook. A large number of medical schools around the world as their biochemical textbook, and it's a textbook that many doctors are trained with. And in 1996, they came out with a whole chapter about glycans, which no doctor had known before. And to summarize what this chapter explained is that about 200 glycans or monosaccharides are found in nature. However, only 8 are found in the chains of glycoproteins. And Harper's latest edition now has 7 chapters on glycobiology. That's how important it is. This is a picture of a cell, a T lymphocyte cell fighting a imposter cell. The furry hair-like structures that you see here are what we call the glycoproteins. And for many years, scientists just didn't understand what they were. But with improved electron microscopes, we now know that they're used for communication. So what do cells have to talk about? Sounds a bit strange. They have to recognize each other for a start, and they have to recognize friend from foe, very important at the moment. They need to be fed, cleansed, regulated, repaired, and defended. And a good analogy of this communication is that all the letters in our alphabet are made from just 4 basic shapes, which you can see at the bottom of this slide: a long straight line, a short straight line, a big curve, and a small curve. And you put those shapes in juxtaposition, and they pretty much make up our whole English language. If one shape were missing, just one, and we've taken out the short straight line here, it pretty much renders our alphabet useless. You can't read what those words say. And this is a really good analogy. Every living cell in nature is covered in these glycoproteins, animals, plants, humans, and viruses. And this is why it's so important for your cells to be properly what's called glycosylated. To work efficiently, your immune system totally relies on this communication process every second of your life to function as it was designed. And of course, recognize and deal with invaders, including unfriendly pathogens, bacteria, viruses, etc. So the same is true with this cellular communication. Even if one of these 8 sugars or glycans is missing, the individual cells can't effectively communicate their needs. And the importance of this discovery has been thoroughly validated. Many major scientific journals over the years that I've been involved have run articles. In 2003, MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, one of the leading science think tanks in the world, produced a technology review journal. And in that, they said that glycobiology was one of the 10 emerging technologies that will change the world. And the reason for the excitement is that glycans have a vital, albeit often overlooked, function in the body. Medical potential is absolutely enormous. So as the pioneer and world leader in the development of glycan supplements, Mannatech occupies a unique niche in the dynamic field of carbohydrate technology known as glycomics. Mannatech hold over 90 current international patents relating to their discoveries and products. That's patents that are actually in place as we speak. And at last count, there have been 17 successful gold standard human clinical trials, double-blind studies, the gold standard, carried out and published on specific Mannatech products. That's a very important thing to understand. And since these original discoveries, Mannatech's invested over $50 million into its groundbreaking research and development. And as a leading research and development company, but something that really sets it apart from other nutritional companies, it's gone on to make more breakthrough discoveries. And they basically culminated in the creation of a cutting-edge optimal health program. And that's designed to provide the body with the nutrients it needs in the way that they're designed to receive them to maintain and defend itself in today's modern world. It's very important to note here, Mannatech products are not designed to cure, mitigate, or treat any disease or replace a doctor's care. They're simply designed to give the body what it needs to heal, repair, defend, and maintain itself. So you may be asking now, well, how do we get these breakthrough Mannatech products? Well, as I mentioned, Mannatech's a direct distribution company. That means that you order your desired products directly from Mannatech, and the products are then delivered from the company direct to your door. You'll never see them being sold in a retail outlet or being advertised through conventional means. And Mannatech provides a membership program where you can become a preferred customer for free, doesn't cost a thing, and that enables the products to be purchased direct from the company at discounted prices. And I think of it as a kind of buyer's group, if you like. Products are then delivered from the company direct to the consumer. And customers are referred by word of mouth only. So you can also join Mannatech as an associate. So as well as cheaper prices and direct ordering, there's a number of other ways that you can benefit from becoming an associate as opposed to a preferred customer. So Mannatech uses a revenue sharing business model that enables those that choose to become an associate, and they're then rewarded for sharing their knowledge, just like we do on this call every Saturday for the last 17 years, sharing our knowledge about Mannatech technology and their amazing products with other people. In 26 countries, It truly is a global business that you can run from home. I'm running a global business from here in the middle of nowhere. I love it. So Mannatech then shares the money that they save through not using conventional advertising with people like me and Sharon and Diana, associates, who by their recommendation actually cause the Mannatech products to be consumed by people. And it's a win-win recipe that has resulted in Mannatech's huge global success story in 26 countries around the world. Amazing. So we use 21st century tools, just like we're doing now, able to talk to people around the world from the comfort of my own home, to educate people about the importance of glycans, glycomics, real food technology, health and immunity. And we work together in teams, like we are on this call, to help create an additional income for anyone who desires one. So when you join Mannatech, you immediately tap into full training support. This call is just one example of many, many things that go on behind the scenes to help us be successful partnering with Mannatech. It's very low cost and low risk. You can share this gift and make a real living, making a real difference in people's lives. And that's why I do it. Just in that one sentence there sums up why I've been committed to this for 20 years. So we're back on home base and it's all okay. It's up to you. The choice is yours. And I must say again, please note, we don't purport this as a get-rich-quick scheme. Your level of success in attaining results, it depends on the time that you devote, your finances, your knowledge, various skills. And these factors obviously different according to each person. So we can't guarantee your success or income level, but we're here to help and support you. So that's what is really, really important, having that support, people helping you, and you're not on your own. So I'd just like to finish up by asking, why is this now a really good time to take a serious look at this? Well, we're in a global situation. It's affecting us all. Everyone around you, job security, all-time low. Nobody knows what's going to happen. The long-term negative economic impact is massive. There's no real clear end in sight. The wellness revolution is here. People demanding better validated solutions to immunity and health. Millions of people around the globe are in desperate need of financial solutions right now as we speak. And our mission is clear. The time to act is now. And our solution is real, it's proven. So the choice is yours. Where are you now? It's an unprecedented situation we find in. You need to be able to create an income pretty fast. And you remember this slide that I covered before. It's our home business wish list. When you become a Mannatech Associate, you can tick all of these immediately. And in fact, within hours of joining, you're actually set up and able to start doing things that are actually income generating. It's amazing. You'll be partnering with a 25-year-old global business that provides everything you need to get started. And just as one example, as soon as you join us, immediately, you'll have your own branded global e-commerce system. And just to quickly show you that, you have your own website. This is within minutes of joining. You're shopping with Garry Gnapp here, so any sales that are made through that are credited to me. Behind the scenes is a full back office. It's just brilliant. Along with other things that we have, mobile apps, all sorts of high-tech, modern systems that help us run our business. Going back to this slide, you've seen me say low startup costs. You've heard me say that a few times. So what do I actually mean by low startup costs? I don't know what you're expecting to have to invest to get access to all this. It's probably a few $1,000s. So I just want to make sure that you're all sitting down, because this is probably going to shock you. To join Mannatech as an associate is, in Australia, it's just $49.95. And it's a similar amount in every other country. So you're probably asking, what, is that every week? Is that every month? No, it's just $49.95 a year. And you can order whatever products you want for your own use at discounted prices. And unlike many other direct sales businesses, where as you climb the leadership ladder, you're required to buy more and more just to qualify for commissions, as a Mannatech Associate, you will never have to buy any more than your own personal use. And remember, you never have to hold any stock, you never have to collect any money, as all your customers are buying direct from Mannatech. So I have a lot of people who say they want to research it more before jumping in. And really, the only way to research Mannatech is from the inside. I just recommend that you join, and that's where you do your research. And you can do that with no risk. All Mannatech products come with a no-risk, industry-leading 90-day money-back satisfaction guarantee. You'll engage with an amazing community of people, helping people, helping people. That's what we're all about. There's no rah-rah, there's no hype. You'll have immediate access to a gold mine of training and support, incentive trips, and one of the highest paying commission plans in the industry. As Albert Einstein once said, in the midst of every crisis lies great opportunity. What's happened to us is really, really extraordinary in the last year or so. The treadmill that millions of people have been on, possibly for decades, kind of stopped. So take a deep breath, think about what you desire to have in your life. What's your dream life? This is your chance to define a new version of normal. So take this opportunity, redesign, reimagine, think about what your life would look like in 5, 10, 20 years. This is your real chance to do that. As I said at the start of this presentation, I've been a very proud Mannatech Associate for over 20 years. I've had a wonderful team of associates and happy customers around the world. I've been paid every single month without fail all that time. And it's given me the time freedom and lifestyle of my dreams, and it can do the same for you. So don't wait on this. The timing's perfect. You have nothing to lose, everything to gain. So for further information, just get back to the person who invited you to this webinar. So thanks again for making the time to join us, and I look forward to seeing you on the inside of Mannatech.
Garry, thank you so much. And as promised, a solid view of what Mannatech has on offer and the Mannatech story in regard to solutions for yours and your family's well-being, or lifestyle improvement or lifestyle thriving. So Garry, thank you so much. And also from a solid experienced business background. If you could see the chat, Garry, there's loads of gratitude there for your expertise and your insight and your education. So as Garry said, share this presentation with those that want to know more. And if you're watching this presentation for the first time, get back to the person who invited you to this information and talk to them about what is your next best steps. Thanks for joining us today. We wish you a wonderful Saturday and look forward to seeing you all again on next week's presentation. Bye for now.